Hello, everyone. My name is Keith Jackson, and welcome to Jack's Math Notebook. Right now, you're looking at the second video in a series of just three videos related to how to find the greatest common factor and the least common multiple. And today, we're going to use two numbers, and those numbers are 48 and 72. First, let's talk about the greatest common factor of 48 and 72. And what we mean by finding the greatest common factor is that what is the highest number, okay? The highest number that 48 and 72 can be divided by. And we're going to find that out. We're going to find out why it is 24. And we're going to do this, okay? So we're going to find the greatest common factor by finding the prime factorization of both 48 and 72. So we're going to find the prime numbers that multiply to 48, and we're going to find the prime numbers that multiply to 72. And in this case, 2 to the fourth power times 3 will multiply to 48, and 2 to the third power times 3 to the second power will multiply to 72, and we're going to show you how that works. And so when we prime factorize a number, we're going to milk out the prime factors of that number, and then we're going to multiply them later. And so like in this case, since 48 is an even number, it is easy to pick the prime factor of 2. Yes, 2 is a prime factor. In fact, it is the only prime factor that happens to be an even number. And so we're going to fish it out because 48, thankfully, is an even number. And so what two numbers multiply to 48, provided that one of the numbers is a prime number, right? And that would be 2 times 24. We're going to do the same thing with 24 because 24 is a composite number, and we're going to fish out a 2 here. And the question is, what two numbers, when you multiply them together, give us 24, provided that one of the numbers is a prime number, and that is correct, 2 times 12. And let's say the same thing for 12. What two numbers, when you multiply them together, will give us 12, provided that one of the numbers is a prime number? Yes, 12 is even, so we can fish out a 2. 2 times 6 will give us 12, and we're going to do the same thing with 6 because, believe it or not, 6 is a composite number. It is not a prime number. And the question is, what two numbers, when you multiply them together, where at least one of those numbers is a prime number? Yep, so we have 2 times 3, and it just so happens that both these numbers are prime. 2 is a prime number, and 3 is a prime number, and this is why we have 2 to the fourth power times 3. And we're going to do exactly the same process with 72. What two numbers, when you multiply them together, will give us 72, provided that one of the numbers is a prime number, right? That's 2 times 36. And we know we're going to do the same thing with 36 by saying that 2 times 18 will give us 36, and 18 is right there. What two numbers, when we multiply them together, will give us 18, provided that one of those numbers is prime, and that's 2 times 9. And then we could do the same thing with 9. But this time we have to fish out two threes because 3 times 3 will give us 9. And so now we have our prime factors of 72. And what we're going to do, we're going to stack up only the shared prime factors. All right, so we have 3 here, which means that we could take 3 from here and we can share them. And so what we're going to do for 48, we're just going to write out the 3 2s because it shares 3 2s over here with the 72, although it has 4, but it has 3 that it can share. So we're only going to use 3, and we're going to circle them in column format like that. At the same token, since we only have 1 3 here, although this has 2, we can only share 1 3. And so we're going to line up the 3's like this. And we're going to multiply these prime factors together because 2 times 2 will give us 4, 4 times 2 will give us 8, and 8 times 3 will give us 24. And that'll let us know that 24 is our greatest common factor. And here's an interesting note. If you line these two numbers up as a fraction, let's say 48 over 72, and you divide both the numerator and the denominator by 24, you will get the simplified version of this fraction right here. So 48/72 will be equivalent to 2/3 because we use the greatest common factor of 24 to arrive at 2/3. All right, so with that in mind, let's go to the least common multiple. And yes, you see a big number here of 144 because actually we're counting by 48 and we're counting by 72 to see what number that they have in common that is a multiple of both 48 and 72. And we can use the prime factor method just like we did with the greatest common factors. And so we're just going to borrow those prime factors over here and we're just going to line them up. But we're going to do it a little bit differently. We're going to stack the prime factors to make columns. So we're going to use all the prime factors. So we're going to use all the twos here and the three, and we're going to use all the twos here and all the threes here. We're just going to line them up one on top of the other. Okay, and so that's what we're going to do. So they share three twos here, three twos here. So we're going to make columns with those, but this one has another two, right? And so we're just going to line it up, but we can't put anything underneath it because there's not another two over here that will pair up with it. And the same thing we're going to do with a three. We're going to line up these two threes here, but it has an extra three in which we're going to make an extra column out of it. And so in this case, we have two times two times two times two times three. And so we have 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. And then we have 16 times 9 because 3 times 3 would give us 9. So we have 16 times 9 right here. And that would give us an answer of 144. And in fact, if you count by 48, you will land at 144. And if you count by 72, you will land at 144 together. So this is the first common multiple that they have in common, or in other words, the least common multiple that they have in common. Right now, you have been given a lot of information. I wouldn't blame you if you need to pause the video to take a look at the anchor chart or replay this video as many times you need to gain a deeper understanding of how the greatest common factor and the least common multiple work. But in the meantime, please comment, share, like, and subscribe to Jack's Math Notebook for more content. Thank you and goodbye.